The 10 Methods for Meditating on the World. There are 10 methods for meditating on the world that can lead us to happiness and fulfillment. The first method is to realize that as soon as people are born, they begin to grow old and that, eventually, they die. The world is like an inn where you stay temporarily. None of the beds or furniture are really yours. We will all be gone soon, for no one can stay long in an inn. The second is to observe how our friends and loved ones are taken from us just as the leaves fall from a tree. Wind and winter arrive and the leaves are gone. The third method is to recognize that the world is a place where the success of the mighty and the prosperity of the wealthy never last. They are like the moon at night. The full moon shines on everything until clouds appear, or the full moon changes into the new moon, and its light is gone. To follow the fourth method, consider the world as a place where people steal things from others that they believe are valuable, but which will eventually harm them instead. They are like moths attracted to a light who dive into the flame. The fifth method is to contemplate the world as a place where the wealthy exhaust both their body and spirit, accumulating treasure that cannot help them in the end. They are like small jars that cannot hold the rivers, lakes, and seas they covet. The sixth method asks you to look at the world as a place where people dally in sexual activities that bring them unhappiness instead of fulfillment. They are like a tree infected with insects that sap its strength and eat away its core until it dries up and breaks. The seventh method is to think of the world as a place where people indulge in alcohol until they are so drunk and confused they don't know good from bad. They are like a clear spring pool whose mirror-like surface perfectly reflects everything, but it becomes muddy and the image vanishes, leaving filthy water in which nothing can be seen. The eighth method calls for thinking of the world as a place where people act as if life were a game. They sit around wasting the hours of the day and wearing out their vital spirit. They are like a madman who imagines he has seen flowers and walks around all night trying to find them again. In the end, he is exhausted and has seen nothing. The ninth method is to think of the world as a place where people go from religion to religion, looking for truth but finding only confusion. They are like a skilled craftsman who carves an ox and paints it until the statue resembles the real thing. But when he tries to use it to plow his field, the ox is good for nothing. The 10th method is to contemplate the world as a place where people seem to be following these principles, but are actually deceiving themselves and helping no one. They are like an oyster that holds a bright pearl. A fisherman breaks the oyster to extract the pearl, and the oyster dies. The pearl looks beautiful, but the oyster is dead. The nature of the one spirit. Heaven stands without supporting beams or posts, but heaven does not stand on its own. It does so through the power of the one Spirit, without supporting beams or posts, and free of walls and fences. It is like when an archer shoots an arrow. We see only the arrow, not the archer. We see no archer, but the arrow could not have appeared on its own. There must be an archer. This is how we can understand that heaven and earth, with the sustaining power of the one Spirit, neither crumble nor collapse, but endure because of the power of the one. We do not see this force, but we know it sustains heaven and earth. Once the arrow's force is spent, it falls to earth. Similarly, if heaven and earth were not sustained by the one Spirit, they would crumble. Because of the power of the one, heaven and earth do not collapse. So the existence of heaven and earth affirm the power of the one Spirit. Since heaven does not collapse, we know this supernatural power is something we cannot fathom, for it appears that the one Spirit created itself. Pondering this, we realize there is no left and no right, no before or after, no above or below. It is a single thing, the sustaining power of the one. There is no second or third, and it cannot be made. We see the one Spirit dwelling in heaven and earth, without teacher or maker. We see this force as one who invisibly sustains heaven and earth and nourishes all living things. The one Spirit cannot be seen in heaven and earth, just as the human soul cannot be seen in the body. The one Spirit alone resides everywhere, just as the soul permeates every place in our body. There is the one Spirit under heaven who lives in the divine palace of the intangible realm. This spirit is never in just one place, and is not attached to any one place. In fact, in the intangible realm, one place is actually two places, and the first is the second in time. Time in the intangible realm is always seen as present, like the Holy Lord's transforming influence. It follows from this that the intangible realm has not been produced nor made. Words such as first and second do not apply. The one spirit, therefore, is intangible, not created and not made. Do not ask whether everything that exists under heaven also resides in the intangible realm, or how it is that what we see is not created, not located anywhere, and without time. Not by questions will you understand where the one spirit is, or that the one, located in the intangible realm, has been neither produced nor made. Do not ask when the one spirit was made or produced. This also will not be understood through questions. Not by questions will you understand. Permanent, inexhaustible, exhaustible, impermanent. The one spirit resides within all the myriad things. The one has been neither produced nor made, and permanently resides without end. Among the things existing under heaven, there are those that can be seen and those that cannot be seen. For example, the soul cannot be seen by human beings. Our desire to see the soul indicates a spiritual consciousness in human beings. Just as two kinds of sprouts can share one root, human insight is of two kinds, and both share one root. We have both a soul and a spiritual consciousness. Just as a person without a body is not complete, and a person without a soul is not complete, so is someone without a spiritual consciousness also incomplete. Anything seen under heaven is not complete on its own. If it exists under heaven, it is of two kinds from one root. If someone asks in what way the myriad things are made by the one Spirit, or if they ask where the unseen things reside, you should answer in this way. They reside under heaven, and are what the one Spirit sent. If someone asks how many things there are, or how many people have been made, say to them, the myriad things under heaven all consist of the four elements. The story of the Jesus Sutras. The Emperor Taizong was a champion of culture. He created prosperity and encouraged illustrious sages to bestow their wisdom on the people. There was a saint of great virtue named Alabin, who came from the Qin Empire carrying the true scriptures. He had read the azure clouds and divined that he should journey to the east. Along the way, Alabin avoided danger and calamity by observing the rhythm of the wind. In the 9th year of the Zhenguan reign, 635 Common Era, Alabin reached Chang'an Xian. The emperor sent his minister, Duke Zuanling, together with a contingent of the palace guard, to the western outskirts to accompany Alabin to the palace. The translation work on his scriptures took place in the imperial library, and the emperor studied them in his private chambers. After the emperor became familiar with the true teachings, he issued a decree and ordered that it be propagated. In the autumn of the 12th year of the Zhenguan reign, 638 Common Era, during the 7th lunar month, the emperor issued a proclamation saying, "There is no single name for the way. Sages do not come in a single form. These teachings embrace everyone and can be adopted in any land. A sage of great virtue, Alabin, has brought these scriptures from the distant land of the Qin Empire and offered them to us in the capital. We have studied these scriptures and found them otherworldly, profound, and full of mystery. We found their words lucid and direct. We have contemplated the birth and growth of the tradition from which these teachings sprang. These teachings will save all creatures and benefit mankind, and it is only proper that they be practiced throughout the world." Following the emperor's order, the Greater Qin Monastery was built in the Aining section of the capital. 21 ordained monks of the luminous religion were allowed to live there. The chariot of Emperor Taizong ascended in the west. The reign of the Tang Emperor dynasty flourished, and the luminous religion spread eastward across the land. Imperial officers were ordered to paint a portrait of the emperor on the wall of the monastery. Here the divine presence, richly colored, shone brightly for the followers of the luminous religion. This auspicious symbol of the imperial presence added brilliance and bestowed favor upon the religion. According to the illustrated record of the western regions and the historical tablets of the Han and Wei dynasties, the Coral Sea flows from the south of the Qin Empire, and the mountains of treasure lie to the north. To the west in the land of immortals and flower groves, and to the east it touches on the realm of heavy winds and dry rivers. The land produces fire-washed cloth, incense that restores the soul, full moon pearls and jade rings that glow in the night. Here there are no thieves, and everyone enjoys happiness and peace. Only the luminous religion is practiced, and rulers who lack virtue never come to power. The land is vast, the culture rich, and the people prosperous. The Emperor Gaozong, 650 to 683 Common Era, reverently continued the tradition of his ancestor and enhanced the luminous religion by building temples in every province. He bestowed honors upon Elibin, declaring him the great Dharma Lord of the empire. The luminous religion spread throughout all 10 provinces. The empire prospered, and peace prevailed. Temples were built in 100 cities, and countless families received the blessings of the luminous religion. Creation. You ask of what a human being is made. People are made of that which can be seen and that which cannot be seen. You ask what is visible and what is invisible. That which can be seen is made by the power of God and consists of the 4 elements: earth, water, fire, and air. You ask how the 4 elements are made. The answer is that under heaven there is nothing that has not been created. Of the things created, there is nothing that has not been created by the one God. If the one God had not been in the world, there would have been no need to make the world. It is like building a house. First you seek a house builder, then you ask that a house be built. Likewise, when the one God undertook creation, once willed, it was done. Out of love for all living things, he made himself seen in the world. Through his compassion for all creatures, the one God could clearly be seen. Heaven and earth are the creation of the one God. The power and will of God pass like the wind over everything. His is not a body of flesh, but a divine consciousness, completely unseen to human eyes. What the power of God carries out and what it calls forth can be known. This could not be done by any other thing. What could possibly resemble him? The myriad things of existence manifest the one God. Everything under heaven shares his power. Insects and animals do not understand language, so we say they do not have intellectual faculties. In classifying the myriad things, no 2 are the same. Not everything under heaven can be seen. So it is that from the suspicious hearts of human beings, the thought arises that other gods could have made the myriad things precisely in his image. But even if there were such gods, none could make the world precisely in his image. There are 2 kinds of things, the visible and the invisible, and it is clear the one God made them both. People are of 2 natures. If they were of one kind, nothing more could be said. If there were not 2 natures, how could God make this thing called a human being? Everyone under heaven is divided in accordance with this divine truth of the 2 natures, body and spirit. One God makes both. In finding the one God, we discover that 2 worlds have been made. In the world of the body we suffer demise and death, but in the world of the spirit we are permanent and secure. The spirit, the soul, is immortal. The power of God energizes both body and spirit. Biblical parallels. When you give, do not give in front of others out of respect for the world-honored one, the good spiritual friend. If you give with your left hand, do not let your right hand know it. When worshipping, do not let others hear or see or know about it. Your worship is for the one Spirit alone to see. Forgive all others, and in this way you will be forgiven for the evil deeds you have done. Also, remember to forgive yourself. For just as you forgive, so does the one Spirit forgive you. By forgiving others, you will be forgiven. Do not pile treasures on the ground where they will be stolen. Treasures must be stored in heaven, where they will not decay or be lost. In the human world, there are 2 kinds of life. The first life is to live for the one spirit. The other is to pursue riches. Don't worry about acquiring wealth or whether you will have enough to eat and drink. You are not like a newborn babe who can be attacked by thieves and left with nothing. I say to all of you, seek only one thing. Pray to the one Spirit, and you will be without blame. Whatever clothing you need, you will receive. Do not worry about drink, food, or clothing. The One knows your needs. Look at the birds in the air. They don't plant or harvest. They have no barns or cellars. In the wilderness, the one Spirit provided for the people and will also provide for you. You are more important than the birds and should not worry. Do not look for bad qualities in people. Seek the best in others and learn from them how to be good. If you have a beam stuck in your own eye, don't turn to someone else and say, "You have something in your eye which I will remove." Don't be a hypocrite. First take the beam out of your own eye. Always tell the truth. Do not give pearls to swine. They will trample and destroy them. You will only be blamed by them for your actions and incur their anger. Why don't you realize this yourself? Knock on the door and it will be opened for you. Whatever you seek, you will obtain from the one Spirit. Knock on the door and it will be opened for you. If you pray and do not get what you want, it is like knocking on a door that is not opened. This means that what you requested is harmful to you. If you go to your father and ask him for bread, you will receive it. But if you ask for a rock, it will not be given for fear it will hurt you. To ask for a fish is permitted, but if you ask for a snake, it will not be given to you, because it could bite you. Whatever you want from other people, they will also want from you. So whatever other people do for you, you should do for them. Do not take advantage of people weaker than you. If you see a poor child, do not turn her away. Give food and drink even to your enemy, and by doing so, rid yourself of hate. When you see a man struggling with his work, help him and provide him with something to eat. Seeing someone naked, give them clothing. If a poor child asks for money, give what you have. If you have nothing, explain that you have no money to give. Do not laugh at the sick, for they did not bring illness upon themselves willingly. Do not ridicule a naked child or one clothed in rags. Do not cheat others out of their property or oppress them. If someone stands accused, reflect on the facts and judge them fairly. If those with no family to support them stand accused, consider the circumstances and do not treat them wrongfully. Do not be arrogant or boastful. Do not make up stories or incite people to fight with one another. Those who abide by these precepts do not harm others. With respect to all other living creatures, always act kindly and never think cruel thoughts. By acting this way, there is less cause for regret. May each person always do what is good for all other living creatures. The 4 laws of the Dharma. A follower asked, "You said that no desire, no action, no virtue, no truth are the 4 laws and the way to peace and joy. But I do not see how there can be joy when there is no existence." The one Lord, the Messiah, answered, "What a wonderful question! I will tell you again. It is only nothing that can give rise to something. If it were in something, peace and joy would never be. And why? Take, for example, a mountain filled with forests. The leaves and branches of the trees spread shade everywhere. Surely this mountain forest does not seek birds and animals, but they all come here on their own to nest and gather. Or think of a great sea that draws all the rivers and springs and is vast without limits and deep beyond measure. Surely this ocean does not seek fish and scaly creatures, but they all dwell there on their own. Those of you who seek peace and joy are like those birds and fish. You need only pacify your minds and live quietly. Then in practicing these teachings, you will not have to seek peace and joy. They will simply be there like the forest and the ocean. This is how nothing gives rise to something. The first law is no desire. Your heart seeks one thing after another, creating a multitude of problems. You must not allow them to flare up. Desires are like the roots of plants. Since they are buried deep below the earth, you can't see them and don't know they are damaged until the buds of the plant begin to wither and die. Desire in the human heart can't be recognized from the outside either. Desire can sap wholesome energy from the 4 limbs and the body's openings, turning it into a unwholesome activity. This cuts us off from the roots of peace and joy. That is why you must practice the law of no desire. The second law is no action. Doing things for mundane reasons is not part of your true being. You have to cast aside vain endeavors and avoid shallow experiences. Otherwise, you are deceiving yourself. It's like being aboard a ship adrift on the ocean. The sea waters rolls and swells with the wind, creating waves that force the ship this way and that way. There is no peace on board. Everyone is worrying they will sink. We live our lives veering this way and that. We do things for the sake of progress and material gain, neglecting what is truly important and losing sight of the way. That is why you must distance yourself from the material world and practice the law of no action. The third law is no virtue. Try to find pleasure by making a name for yourself through good deeds. Practice, instead, universal loving kindness that is directed towards everyone. Never seek praise for what you do. Consider the earth. It produces and nurtures a multitude of creatures, each receiving what it needs. Words cannot express the benefits the earth provides. Like the earth, you are at one with peace and joy when you practice the laws and save living creatures. But do it without a claim. This is the law of no virtue. The fourth law is no truth. Don't be concerned with facts. Forget about right and wrong, sinking or rising, winning or losing. Be like a mirror. It reflects one and all, blue, yellow, and all other colors, long, short, any size. It reflects everything as it is, without judging. Those who have awakened to the way, who have attained the mind of peace and joy, who can see all karmic conditions, and who share their enlightenment with others, reflect the world like a mirror, leaving no trace of themselves. Jesus' teachings for those who have escaped the realm of desire. All creatures seek the higher Dharma. They long for the way of peace and joy, which lies buried and cannot be seen. The truth is like the moon reflected in water. When the water is stirred up and muddy, the image of the moon does not appear, and is like fire in the grass. When the grass is wet, we do not see light. So it is with all of us when the spirit is clouded. Everyone who wants to practice the higher path must first get rid of movement and desire. When you are not moving and have no wants, you do not seek and do not act. When you do not seek or act, you can be pure and still. As you become pure and still, you will gain insight, and when the insight becomes omniscient and omnipresent, you will experience peace and joy. We are always seeking and acting, and because of this, we create movement and desire, which cause unhappiness and make it difficult to attain peace and joy. Therefore, I say we should live without desire and action, apart from the evils of the world. In this way we will enter into the source of what is pure. Release yourself from the bad things of the world and seek what is pure. Purity is like empty space. It produces the light of love whose brightness illuminates everything. Because it illuminates everything, it is called the way of peace and joy. I dwell in all the heavens and in all the earths, sometimes in the path of gods, sometimes in the human realm. I save those who are being punished for their actions, but nothing is ever heard about their salvation, because it is like empty space, without attachment or any kind of merit. Why is that? Wherever there is merit, there is fame, and whenever there is fame, we consider ourselves different from others. This clouds our minds and leads to self-pride, which prevents us from attaining peace and joy, the state of perfect understanding. Those who have compassion for other creatures and act in this way without seeking praise are true to their own hearts. They possess spiritual and psychic powers that guide them to what is right and important. Ultimately, it leads them along the way of peace and joy to enlightenment. I see the Dharma. My vision is not blocked by forms. I hear the Dharma. My ears are not overwhelmed by sounds. I smell the Dharma. My nose is not filled with scents. I taste the Dharma. My tongue is not deceived by flavors. I move with the Dharma. My body is not hindered by physical forms. I know the Dharma. My mind is not cluttered with things. Once you embody these 6 Dharmas, you will understand the teaching. Truth cannot be verified. And why? If we speak of truth, then in speaking of it, our minds are obstructed, and we move further away from it. Avoid self-praise. Try to disengage from words. Be compassionate toward the weak, and help them eliminate their boundless desires. In this way, you can help them transcend the lesser truths, and attain the highest. If you listen to these sutras, and take pleasure in them, if you read them aloud and carry them in your mind, you will plant strong roots for many generations to come. Your father and grandfathers, your mother and grandmothers, who cherished these teachings and found joy in them before you, have created a tradition you are continuing. The sutras are like the spring rain that waters everything, giving life to buds and roots. Without the rain, the roots would never grow. In studying them, you are enjoying the fruit that earlier generations planted for you. Someone who is about to enter the military needs armor to protect himself. It must be strong so he doesn't have to worry about being attacked. It is the teachings of these sutras that protect people as armor shields a soldier. Anyone who crosses the ocean must have a boat before taking on the wind and waves. But a broken boat won't reach the far shore. It is the sutras of the luminous religion that enable us to cross the sea of birth and death to the other shore, a land fragrant with the treasured aroma of peace and joy. Consider someone who discovers an epidemic that is causing the multitudes to sicken and die, and then learns of a precious incense whose fumes can recapture the soul and bring the dead back to life. So do these sutras of the highest law of the luminous religion enable people to recapture their lives, eliminating suffering, and gain true wisdom. The sutras are like a great fire burning upon a high mountain. The light from that fire shines upon all. A parable. The Messiah told a story. There was a bejeweled mountain with groves of jade and pearl-like fruit that glistened and cast light in the forest. Lovely and aromatic. The fruit could satisfy any hunger or thirst and cure any illness. A sick man heard about this mountain and began yearning day and night for its precious fruit. But the mountain was high, the road was long, and he was weak and crippled. He yearned to go, but could never fulfill his dream. Finally, he asked a close relative, who was wise and capable, to make ladders and cut steps in the mountain. By pulling and pushing the man, the relative was able to take him to the summit where the sick man was immediately healed. Many people who yearn to climb this peak are confused and worried. They want to enjoy the pearly fruit that grows on the mountain of peace and joy, but their passion and faith are nearly exhausted. If they rely on the good spiritual friend to be their relative, and the teachings of the sutras to be their ladders and steps, they will awaken to the way and follow it to the summit. The 5 skandhas. The body and soul are manifest in the 5 skandhas: form, feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness, and are linked through the skandhas. There is no eye that does not see, no hand that does not work, no feet that do not walk. So are the body and soul combined in the skandhas. It is like the interdependence of the sun with fire, 2 things that make one phenomenon. Fire comes from the sun, but the sun does not burn. It needs fire to burn. Fire cannot burn or create light without fuel. So fire does not have its own light. It requires fuel to create light. They depend on the other. If the sun and fire were the same thing, then the sun would burn of itself and produce light, but it cannot burn or create light without fire. We find identity in difference, and difference in what is the same. All this is done by the power of the one God. The 5 skandhas help perfect the soul. They dwell in the world always and affect the soul of all living things. They are like the soul's clothing. They are the flavors of the soul. Through them the soul recognizes the image of God. As the teachings say, When the soul is in the body, it grows like a seed of grain grows when planted in the ground. When it is stored in a cellar after being harvested, the grain no longer has water or manure to sustain it, but it will still sprout upon contact with a warm breeze. So the soul within the body does not seek out food or drink or require clothing, but through the skandhas continuously renews itself. When heaven and earth come to an end, the souls of the dead will come back to life through the 5 skandhas. But at this time the soul will be sufficient unto itself. Free of the body, it will need not clothing and food, but will dwell in permanent bliss, using its psychic powers. The bliss of that world is the happiness of the soul playing in the body, without the limitations of the physical world. The carefree and blissful state of the soul in that world is due to the power of the Lord of Heaven. If the Lord of Heaven is deeply respected, all things will be clearly seen, and what you need will be given to you. When the soul wants to be clothed in a body, the 5 skandhas will ensure that it can live permanently in the world. A new way of life. Who has seen God? No one can see God. The face of God is like the wind. Who is able to see the wind? Always present. God never stops circulating throughout the world. People can live only by dwelling in the living breath of God. Only in this way can they be at peace and realize their aspirations. From sunrise to sunset, they dwell in the living breath of God. Every sight and thought is part of that breath. God provides a place for them, filled with clarity and bliss and stillness. All the Buddhas are moved by this wind, which blows everywhere in the world. God resides permanently in this still, blissful place. No karma is done without God. No one really knows how the wind moves. They hear its sound, but cannot see its form. No one sees it as straight or upright. It is not yellow, white, or blue. No one knows where it comes from. Many people believe their gods are like the Lord of Heaven. They claim their writings are holy and joyous. They say they have a different Lord of Heaven. Many of these beliefs are very old, and each faith has its followers. The Lord bestows great wisdom upon people. To repay the loving kindness, we must take stock of our karmic debt, think it over carefully, and realize that we will attain heaven only by avoiding what is bad and unwholesome. May all people do what is good, and ponder what they have done. Whoever is born will die. All living creatures are destined in this way. Our lives are created by the wind. As the life force diminishes and death draws near, the wind leaves our bodies. Our hearts and minds are not really ours, but live because of the wind. When the wind leaves someone, their life comes to an end. No one can see when the wind will depart. No one can know the face of the wind, or whether it is red or green or some other color. Because we cannot see the wind, we ask, where is the Lord of Heaven? And we question why we can't see him. But how can someone living on earth be able to see the Lord of Heaven? The Lord is not the same as a person, so how could someone see him? There is no one who can fully know the Lord of Heaven. People must first ponder their own karma. Only after the Lord of Heaven suffered horribly was he able to help save others from karma. Living creatures are similar to Buddha and can work toward their own salvation. Whoever receives God but continues to do what is unwholesome or incites others to act in this fashion has not received the teachings of the Lord of Heaven. Such a person will abruptly plunge into the path of rebirth and be consigned to Yama, king of the hell. God's knowledge is true knowledge. It is different from what is known in the world. It has preceded the knowledge of the world and will endure eternally. Do what you have to do here on earth, and your actions will determine your place in the next world. We are not born to live forever in the world, but are here to plant wholesome seeds that will produce good fruits in the world beyond this one. Everyone who seeks the other world will attain it, if they plant good seeds before departing. There is a teaching that says, do what is good. In addition to being true to the Lord of Heaven, we must always do what is good. When we lack mindfulness, we are like someone who builds a house out of ignorance. neglecting to set the foundation firmly in the ground. The wind comes and blows it away. Prayers. The highest heavens revere you. The great earth remembers the peace you have bestowed. Man's original true being looks to you as its ultimate refuge. You, loving Father of the three, heaven, earth, mankind. Aloha. All good creatures worship you sincerely. All intelligent beings praise you in song. All who hold what is real take final refuge in you. Your holy light of love protects us from the demons. Impossible to know or attain are your rightness, reality, and permanence. O loving Father, enlightened Son, Holy Spirit King, you are the monarch of monarchs. You are the Dharma sovereign among all the world-honored ones. But not through our eyes can we see your visage. You alone bind together all that is good, you of absolute purity. You alone are the spiritual power, you of unsurpassed strength. You alone do not revolve on the wheel of birth and death, you of the eternal Spirit. You are the root of all that is good. This can never be changed. Everything good flows from your compassion. We marvel at the sublime joy you radiate in our kingdoms. O Messiah, universally honored Son of the great sage, may you take humankind from the world of suffering and save us all. King of eternal life, Lamb of love and bliss, who never shirks the toil of saving the suffering, we pray you undo the bad karma of all who are born. Allow us to discover our true nature in goodness, and free us from our troubles. Holy Son, who sits to the right of his Father's throne, a throne that exceeds all others, unequaled in its awesome height. Master, we pray that you hear the poor, answer the multitude of requests, and lower rafts for them so they can float beyond the burning stream. O Teacher, you are our loving Father. O Teacher, you are our holy Master. O Teacher, you are our Dharma King. O Teacher, your strength can save us all. O Teacher, with your brilliance and strength, help us to prevail. As our eyes gaze up towards you, unwavering, we ask you to give to us, the withered and the scorched, your sweet dew, so our roots of goodness are watered, grow thick, and flourish. O Holy Sage, Universal Lord, Messiah, we marvel at our loving Father's sea of compassion, from the humility of the Holy Sage to the essence of the cool wind. All Dharma is bound together by purity, nothing more, and cannot be attained through the mind. The story of Jesus. The Lord of Heaven sent the cool wind to a girl named Mo Yen. It entered her womb, and at that moment she conceived. The Lord of Heaven did this to show that conception could take place without a husband. He knew there was no man near her, and that people who saw it would say, "How great is the power of the Lord of Heaven!" Their hearts would become filled with pure faith, and they would devote themselves to bettering the karmic condition of all. Mo Yen became pregnant and gave birth to a son named Jesus, whose father is the cool wind. Some people were ignorant and said if she gave birth after becoming pregnant by the cool wind, then the whole thing was merely of this world. If a sage on high issues an edict, then everyone willingly will submit to it. The Lord of Heaven dwells in heaven above, and controls everything in heaven and earth. When Jesus Messiah was born, the world saw clear signs in heaven and earth. A new star that could be seen everywhere appeared in heaven above. The star was as big as a cartwheel, and shone brightly. At about this time, the one was born in the country of Ephrath, in the city of Jerusalem. He was born the Messiah, and after 5 years he began to preach the Dharma. His message to all living creatures was to do good. When he was 12 years old, he came to a purifying place called the Jordan in search of his spiritual nature, together with the sage John. He bathed in the waters. John lived in a rocky ravine and never drank alcohol or ate meat. He consumed only raw vegetables and honey gathered from the ground. Many people came to this place to honor John and learn from him. When Jesus arrived, John led the Messiah to the Jordan to be baptized. After the Messiah had bathed and come out of the water, the cool wind came from heaven in the form of a dove and landed near the Messiah. A voice from the void spoke, "The Messiah is my son. All the living creatures in the world must obey him. His purpose is to do only good." The Messiah then showed everyone that the way of heaven was to follow the Lord of heaven. This meant that all living creatures in the world below must stop serving other gods. As soon as anyone heard these words, they must stop serving other gods, renounce evil, and do good. From the time the Messiah was 12 until he was 32 years old, he sought out people with bad karma and directed them to turn around and create good karma by following a wholesome path. After the Messiah had gathered 12 disciples, he concerned himself with the suffering of others. Those who had died were made to live, the blind were made to see, the deformed were healed, and the sick were cured, the possessed were freed of their demons, and the crippled were made to walk. People of all kinds of illnesses drew near to the Messiah to touch his ragged robe and be healed. All those who do unwholesome deeds, who have not turned toward the path of goodness, who have no faith in the teaching of the Lord of heaven, all those who are impure and covet profit, will never experience redemption. The scribes who drank liquor and ate meat, or served other gods, brought false testimony against him. They waited for an opportunity to kill him, but many people had come to have faith in his teaching, and so the scribes could not kill the Messiah. Eventually, these people, whose karma was unwholesome, formed a conspiracy against him. Pretending to be faithful and pure believers, they tried to kill the Messiah by legal means, but they could not find a way to do it. So they began to denounce him to the great king. While these evil people plotted against him, the Messiah did good deeds and taught with even more vigor than before. When the Messiah was 32 years old, his enemies came before the great king Pilate and accused him by saying, "The Messiah has committed a capital offense. The great king should condemn him." These people of unwholesome karma all testified in the presence of the great king Pilate. The great king, wanting to be just, reasoned that since he had not heard this person nor seen him, it would not be fitting that he should die. He said that the matter could be decided by the scribes themselves. The great king said, "I cannot kill this man." And these people of unwholesome karma replied, "If this man is not killed, think what will happen to us, men and women alike." The great king Pilate asked for water and washed his hands. Then standing before the scribes and others in the crowd, he said that he had no reason to kill him, but the crowd pleaded its case over and over until his death became inevitable. For the sake of all living beings, and to show us that a human life is as frail as a candle flame, the Messiah gave his body to these people of unwholesome karma. For the sake of the living in this world, he gave up his life. After the Messiah had accepted death, his enemies seized the Messiah and took him to a secluded spot, washed his hair, and climbed to the place of the skulls, which was called Golgotha. They bound him to a pole and placed 2 highway robbers to the right and left of him. They bound the Messiah to the pole at the time of the 5th watch of the 6th day of fasting. They bound him at dawn, and when the sun set in the west, the sky became black in all 4 directions, the earth quaked, and the hills trembled. Tombs all over the world opened, and the dead came to life. What person can see such a thing and not have faith in the teachings of the Scriptures? To give one's life like the Messiah is a mark of great faith.